He's done it that way.
Because that's why we do it.
Yeah, and they said it's gonna be all year tea like that.
Andy Todd.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, look, there's the sheriff.
Hello, people.
Pardon my space. I might be in your way a little bit. Sure. Okay.
I'll be in your way if anything. Let me do my chair shuffle here quick and then I'll be ready.
Andy,
Yes.
when, after the meeting, you will find sometime in your mailbox in the county clerk,
Yes.
I will put the adopted minutes in there. All you will need to do at some point is sign your name
Gotcha.
and turn them right back into Tammy Colburn.
That sounds
And then
awesome.
she'll post them onto whatever they do with them.
Okay, you got it. Perfect.
That way, those will be covered.
Okay, thank you.
But only after number 4 on the agenda.
And it's gonna, might be a week later, so it just whenever I get everything to,
Yep, no, that sounds awesome.
it may take a bit. Sometimes I'm right on it, sometimes it just depends on how much minutes there is.
All right, I'll call this meeting of the Trempealeau County Law Enforcement Committee to order at 9:03 a.m.
Okay.
We have, well, let's see. Open meeting law requirements have been met through proper posting. We have an 11-item agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve that agenda. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. We need a motion to adopt the prior meeting minutes of April 20th. Thanks, Drew.
Yep.
We have a second to that motion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. The public comment period, and members of the public will have a 15-minute block of time to comment on today's agenda items. And can someone help me with what the heck that phone number is?
It is right at the top of the
538.
agenda.
715-538-1770.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
They rubbed it here.
Yeah, what he said. 715-538-1770. And we'll take a couple of minutes at this time to address the onslaught of calls that we probably won't get. Anybody been in a meeting where they've had a public call in and comment? Yeah?
The public hearing for the building, we do that night.
Oh,
Other than that, committee meetings, I can't think of any. Looks like we need to get an updated picture for our
oh, yeah.
display.
You might want to talk to the new department head there. They have a drone, but I don't know why he's not doing it. If they've got one, I know you guys have one.
Dustin's going up, and plus the construction management company's doing it every day now.
Oh.
So I get pretty regular updates.
Okay.
I've got the most current one. The most current one is this past Monday, so I'll get that down to.
Maybe if you just share it with them, they can update our,
You guys do it, so.
yeah, that'd be great. Well, let's move on. If we get a phone call, we can take a time out. Number 6 is discussion possible action on monthly department and jail activities / concerns. I guess that's you, Sheriff.
Yes, so, first thing on the agenda. First thing that you see there is discussion of overtime for front door security position. This is just kind of bringing this to your attention right now. There was $2,000 budgeted for that, for overtime for that front door security piece 2 years ago, when the resolution was passed to create that. Since then, some changes have happened where the county board has wanted and maybe needed some screening at night for certain, if not all, county board meetings. A couple of them here a year and a half ago kind of brought that to light. And since we have had the guard there during open meetings in the evening, and that wasn't part of the consideration for the overtime budget prior. So we are, we're getting close to that being used up, or probably a lot farther into it than we should be this time in the year. I'm just bringing it to your attention in the event that later in the year it really exceeds what the budget is, and I have to come back and talk to you for some more. So I'm not asking for anything right now. I don't think we need any action. Carol, do you know where we're at right now with it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, of course I can't quite get that yet.
Oh, we gotta have that two-factor authentication.
Well, I thought I did, Wayne,
Yeah, I thought you did.
Well,
but no, I don't.
so, the reason it's on there is because I know we're gonna be over anyway, so, and of course, the more evening meetings we have that front door security is needed, the harder we're gonna be on that piece, so. Next on here you have is the monthly vouchers, and quite honestly, I haven't even had a chance to look at myself, so I'm looking at them with you this morning. I'll see if anything stands out, I'll point it out, but the squad car damage, the squad car number 60, is that a deer?
Yes.
Or was that another vehicle at a crash scene?
That was
that was the
another
vehicle.
Yeah, he was,
Yep.
Deputy Williams was investigating a crash, and while he was at that crash, another vehicle came along and struck his vehicle. I don't know right now if there's insurance on the other vehicle yet, if there's been a payment, but anyway, initially, it's out of our pocket until we get reimbursement from that.
Is that vehicle over at Caboose?
Not ours.
Oh.
No, ours is done. They did that down at Pete's Repair.
Okay.
So, other than that, nothing stands out to me. Carol and I'll try to answer questions if you have.
Next.
General operations, so right now we have a jail captain position open and an administrative captain position open. I will be posting the jail captain spot today for internal hiring. I did make some changes to the supervisory structure of the jail. There.
So-called food chain?
Yeah, the food chain. The front one is what it currently looks like. So we have 20 employees in the jail. There's a jail captain, assistant jail captain, or it was called a lieutenant at the time, one sergeant, and then 17 correctional officers that come up with a 20. Prior to Captain Niederkorn's retirement, the captain and the assistant jail captain both worked Monday through Friday, and the jail sergeant was on a rotating weekend schedule. So every other weekend, we had a jail sergeant on duty, but we have no night shift sergeants on duty. With the retirement of Tanya and the elimination of supervision of kitchen and medical up in that jail, I have decided that the assistant jail administrator position would be better used as sergeants. I propose eliminating the assistant jail administrator or lieutenant position and promoting 3 current employees to sergeant, and that would give us 4 sergeants, 1 for each shift, day and night. The assistant jail lieutenant came at a wage and benefit package, I'm gonna guess right around $80,000, maybe more when you start thinking health insurance and wages and fringes that go with it. So the promotion of the 3 to sergeant typically would be $1.50 to $2 an hour raise for 3 current employees. So we're looking at, maybe $8,000 to $10,000 in wages additional, and whatever else the retirement piece is with that, and the fringe benefits that come with that. So there's going to be a significant savings in the jail. I propose dropping down to 19 employees by eliminating that jail lieutenant, adding the 3 sergeants so that we have round-the-clock jail sergeants. And then you'll see at the bottom there, when the new building opens, we are anticipating a need for a full-time programming employee that just monitors the programming of the inmates, driver's licenses, education, job search, all that kind of stuff, AA that comes with it. And at that time, I would likely be coming back to the county board for that position to come back again. So as you can tell on the front, the span of control is 9 for Sergeant Halderson and 9 for the jail captain, where in all this, all the training I've ever been to for supervisory, the effective span of control is 5 or less when you start supervising people. So my proposed second sheet there gets us more in line with that. It also will help improve communication between day shift and night shift. Right now, there's none. I have stopped in on occasion during the night shift and visited with the staff up there and realized in a very significant hurry that they do not know what's going on around here. There's no communication, there's no supervision, this will help that a lot. The sergeants, I would think we could overlap them 1 hour at the end of a shift, and they could pass information on, and then they could pass that on to the staff at night. It's critical that even something like the building project, they don't know anything about it. The hiring of the jail captain, they don't know what's going on because there's no communication. So I would like to see this in place to help improve that communication, which would only help improve morale and productivity, and it comes at a significant savings for 1.5 to 2 years here. So. And I would anticipate, or answer any questions that you may have about this.
So the assistant jail captain, that position on the first page, that's going away, that's the one.
The jail captain, the top one there is jail captain.
Yeah.
The assistant jail captain would be the one going away.
This one's going away.
Yeah. Then if you see jail kitchen and jail medical and jail mental health there, those pieces, all that supervision is gone too, because we contract with private companies now for that. So.
Have we started jail kitchen yet?
Yes, May 1st.
And how's that working out?
They tell us good. There was a few complaints of meal sizes, portion sizes to start with, but now I haven't heard anything since, and Joan says it's going good. So we're still in the evaluation process. We are 2 ounces under what a normal one hot meal would be, a portion size right now. When they bid it, they actually bid it 4 ounces less and didn't catch it. Whoever did their menu sets the portion sizes, and then whoever does the number crunching goes based on that. They don't catch that. So they did agree to increase portion sizes for that meal by 2 ounces to 10 ounces at no cost to us. So that at the beginning of next year, there may be we may talk about upping the portion size again. So
Do you have to rebid that every year?
we have it in the contract that it's automatic renewal unless we, and they have automatic price jumps in there. I do anticipate that for the jail commissary piece and jail visiting, that I will be doing all that bidding this fall for the new facility. I want to wait and see how it goes with Summit Foods right now for the kitchen, because they are in most of the jails in the state of Wisconsin right now, so.
Summit is?
Yeah, and most everybody's happy with them, so I don't know that that I would be rebidding that or not. I want to see how it goes here first. And
I think food prices are gonna go up. They're
Oh,
not going to
absolutely.
go down,
Yep,
guys.
yep. Yep.
What do you know?
I'm
And that's
telling you.
that's just a drop in the bucket of what we're gonna see, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit, just more on the structure of the timing? So we got day, night, and night.
Yep.
How many hours a day? I mean, is there weekend shifts? How does it all work?
Sure. First of all, where you see Tom's name there, that's a day shift sergeant. So there's 2 day shift sergeants and 2 night shift sergeants. The jail shifts run from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. And there are 2 rotations. There's, a day and a night, and then when they're off, the others are on. So there's 4 shift rotations, 2 days and 2 nights. The correction officers do not overlap. At 5 p.m., the new staff comes in, and the staff that just got done leaves. There's no overlap. For the sergeants, I would propose that they have at least a half-hour overlap at one point in the day. So there would be a half hour some other point during the day where there'd be no sergeants up there. Well, you time that just right, and typically you'll be fine with that. Say if you do 4:30 or something in the morning, well, typically that's a pretty quiet time in the jail. So,
What is the days on, days off with a 12-hour shift up there?
they are. So you're gonna make me think here. I think they're the 3-2-2-3.
Yep.
2-2-3. Okay, so 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off.
3 off.
3
Is
hours.
it 3 off?
Yeah. So they work like every other Monday, Tuesday.
Right.
And
every other
they're-
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't, it's like the patrol staff, if they have if you're off Wednesday, Thursday, you're off every Wednesday, Thursday. The jail is different. Their schedule is that one week they'll work Monday, Tuesday, the next week they'll work Wednesday, Thursday. And then they have every other Friday, Saturday, Sunday off.
So how's that work then for overtime when it splits out? Because if you're working 12 hours, one week you're gonna have overtime, the next one you
No.
wouldn't?
No.
No,
How's that work?
there's exemptions for law enforcement for
Okay.
24-hour coverage, and they have what's called the Kelly hours up there. Their schedule is 84 hours in a 2-week period?
Well, it's 80.
80.
But it's in their Kelly
Kelly
hours, so
hours.
they get the 8 hours.
Correct.
So if we're fully staffed, this is, so go ahead, you probably know better than I do. I'll have this all
It's
messed up.
confusing.
So some weeks, there's no overtime, other weeks there are overtime, depending on if people take vacation or not, I think. So, if you can explain it, go ahead.
So they're scheduled for 84 hours, but they try to get them 4 hours off during that 2-week period so that they're only at 80 hours. So then the county doesn't have to pay that 4 hours of overtime. Depending on scheduling, vacations and stuff like that, sometimes they end up working those 4 hours. But we try not to do that, obviously, to keep costs down, so.
The fact that there's a minimum staffing requirement set by the state, and it's a 24/7 operation, it puts a different twist to the whole scheduling issue. It's not like 40 hours a week with the weekends off, which, when you're scheduling, would really be nice.
Yeah. And when you say Kelly hours, that refers to, I suppose that's the case law that's adopted by Fair Labor Standards, that allows for this to happen, so they refer to it by the case law name.
So basically what you got is you got 4 shifts that rotate throughout the
Yep.
week to cover all 24 hours,
Yep.
7 days a week.
Yep.
And you're gonna have a sergeant who is over the, what's the position of the
Correction officers.
correction officers,
Yeah.
who will then report into now a captain. It's a lieutenant, we call it lieutenant today?
Lieutenant now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the proposal is to have the sergeants people interview for those roles?
Yes.
And go through the hiring process,
Yeah.
as well as the new captain position?
Yes, and the new captain one, we'll put the posting up today and probably interview in 3 weeks, I suppose. The posting will be up for 7 to 8 days, and then the interviews are typically within a week or so after that.
And so you anticipate the captain's hours to be flexible depending on situation, or just day shift, Monday through Friday?
8 to 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The jail sergeants, We have to have 3 on duty all the time up there. That's a jail, that's a code, state code. You have to have 3 on in our facility. And it'll be the same in the new facility. So if one of those takes off, we don't have to fill it with overtime. If 2 of them take off, then that sergeant will be working the floor that day. So up to 2 can be off without overtime. Right now, our overtime is through the roof in the jail because we don't have that kind of coverage up there. We're paying probably $20,000 in overtime a year up there, and my budget is $50,000.
So,
And that's because, FMLA, when they're off duty, we don't have, when they're off on vacation or holiday, we don't have part-time staff. All we have is full-time staff to go to. So I'm confident that this is going to reduce overtime.
yeah, that along with, I mean, if you look at the overtime, you could probably hire 2 more people and be cheaper than paying the overtime,
Yep.
right? So
You could,
at what point
yeah.
do we propose that?
Right, well, I think that in the new facility, maybe we propose that, because that programming officer will also be able to work the floor as well. There will be duties that will take up a lot of their time for programming, but on occasion, they would probably be available to work a floor shift, so that's gonna reduce that overtime piece. With every position you hire comes the benefits that come with it, such as vacation and holidays and sick leave, and then, when they're off, how difficult is it gonna be to backfill?
Yeah.
If you add that extra position, obviously, then you still have a number of people on duty that particular day if they take off. I know what you're saying.
No, I think it's
maybe I
worth
don't
the
explain it very
exercise to
good,
go
but-
through it and say, okay,
Yeah.
once we're at this point,
Yeah.
and we know that we have to have that overtime to cover what we need, let's look at getting the additional staff, because that builds you more flexibility anyway, plus it's most likely cheaper
Yeah.
at that point. So where's that break-even point? I'd love for you to propose that.
So-
Especially moving into the new facility, we're gonna bring more inmates back.
Yeah.
And we will probably need more people than under each sergeant, because there's only 4 right now. You get the
Yep.
part-time.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's what you said earlier, you're gonna come back for,
So I'll come back for one more when the facility opens. So we did a jail study, or staffing analysis, yes. We've done a staffing analysis in the last 12 months, and the staffing analysis results consider that the jail sergeants do not work the floor. And they put us at 25 for an ideal staff, and that considers the relief factor for each employee. For each employee, what do they call it? It's a 1.25 or?
Shift relief factor.
Shift relief factor is 1.25 for each employee. So that's all factored in. My only difference is that I think the jail sergeants can work the floor to help fill shifts. So that's why I can comfortably go down to, 21 would be that number. I can say 20, I think they can do it. That would bring our overtime back down to what I think is gonna be the 50,000 mark, where then it's not feasible to hire that extra person. Now is a good time to try this, I think. With the staffing analysis we did, it was for our current facility, but even if we opened up with 98 beds in the new facility, on day 1, we have the staff for that. The programming officer is the only additional staff right now, unless I want my jail sergeants to not be filling the floor shifts.
Brett, can I ask you, when this opens up to make money, are we looking at possibly getting people from other areas to
So-
make money to bring it back to us?
Yep, so it's kind of, amongst us, over the last few years, it's kind of, and I'm on the village board in Leva too, and from a municipal standpoint, we don't necessarily think it's good practice to build to help, to build for revenue. Like, do we build this building to house everybody's inmates for revenue? There's arguments back and forth on that. So we haven't really talked about that piece yet, because this facility fits our needs 50 years from now. But the day we open, it's going to be substantially less. And absolutely, we really should seriously look at housing other counties' inmates. There's a demand for it out there right now, at $45 to $55 per inmate per day. It could be substantial for us up front because we will have the beds available for that up front
Well, you
without
know-
adding staff.
It's, I mean, you're talking to the people that are out there paying those tax dollars. You
Yeah.
start throwing that stuff out there, they're gonna start making sense of it.
Yeah.
And they're gonna feel better about
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah,
mean,
I
it's
think
just-
so. It makes sense to me. Nobody's
It
ever
does.
had to convince me that if you have an opportunity to make revenue on what you got, do it while you can.
Absolutely.
So,
But at the same time, we need to do it in a smart way so that we're maximizing the overhead that we have to cover that.
Yep.
I'd hate for us to have to hire 20 more people just to bring in,
Yep.
fill up the beds, and then we're underwater.
yeah.
Right?
Well, our staffing analysis says that we will not have to hire.
Right, with that 95 bed. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Of course, that comes with additional servings of meals, additional laundry, additional costs. So that kind of takes some of that $45 a day away, but
Which should be covered in the price that we ask others to pay.
more than covered, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We should come out ahead on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So the state's minimum mandatory staffing levels for the new facility, basically the same as the current facility?
Yes.
And that's due to the different configuration, correct?
Yep.
That this is not a linear jail?
Yes.
It's a direct supervision jail?
A lot more efficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, so, you have to have one person at the control. And, when I can show you a better picture, control sits right in the middle of the pod and watches everything and controls all the doors. They cannot leave that position, ever. They can't leave that spot.
They can just look all the way around?
Yep, they can see all the inmates in the housing pod. And then we have a separate section for receiving. And oftentimes, people who come into our jail are in receiving for up to 72 hours. So we have to have a person there in that receiving area, monitoring the receiving, the inmates in the receiving cells and those coming in. And then there's one called, basically, they call it a rover, but they spend a lot of their time going around. They actually go in every cell on an hour or less basis, making their rounds, getting the cleaning supplies out, feeding, whatever it might be. So those are the three critical positions that have to be filled every day on each shift. If there's, if we happen to have 4 on duty, there's going back and forth to court. We have people coming in to visit. Some of the programming that we do right now, there's duties for 4, but the minimum staffing is 3. So,
Is there ever an opportunity to cover any of the shift with deputies? Or is that different training required?
right, only, and we are violating this, so right now, correction officers have to have 200 hours of certification training. And that's separate, that's different than law enforcement. So, the jail inspector says that everybody who works in jail has to have that certification. But because of staffing problems every sheriff is having, they are using road deputies to man the jail control. All they're doing is opening doors and watching the inmates. They're not interacting, so the certification isn't quite as important, and the jail inspector is not saying anything about it. But you have to pay them their overtime rate at the road wage, the road wage, which is, probably $6 to $8 an hour more when you figure overtime per hour.
Yeah, I was just curious because, I mean, if there is flex there, and it sounds like you're using it
Yeah.
wisely.
Yeah.
Because if you hire another person and the overhead cost of that person, there's this balance
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So, good.
Yeah, and maybe I misunderstood you. I don't have enough on-duty road deputies to put one in the jail. I gotta hire them overtime to go up there,
Right.
because I'm minimum staffed on the road already. Especially now, I got 4 deputies out on FMLA out of 12, so I really don't have a lot of fluff there. But now, we brought back the second front door security piece, which is bailiff, to serve the needs of bailiffs and perhaps a transport. And that may allow for, if there's no court on this particular day and no transports and we need help in the jail, one of those could go up there and spend their normal workday up there at the control center. So that
Good.
might be
Yeah.
what you're getting at.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
It's all of that managing through,
Yeah.
what
And
you
the
have.
sheriff is lucky in some respects because some of the road guys came out of the jail and they're already certified.
Oh,
And at least one of the door security guys is jail certified as well. I need to point out a perceived issue with jails, or the door security.
Yep.
oftentimes there's two guys sitting there, and sometimes they don't look like they're doing a whole lot.
Yeah, so,
I kind of hinted at that with Mark, but he said, well, I think that's being taken care of.
yeah. So there was a certain point where there was a training period, you know. There is something to learn with that security system they have up there. But I have recently directed that they will not be there together. We can use them out on the road. They're both certified traffic deputies, so if there's nothing going on in the courts and Mark is working, he'll be the front door security guard. There are days, maybe high-profile days around here, where we'll have the other guy walking around the courthouse a little bit more. But in the event that there really is slow for him, he's gonna get in a car and go patrol. Because right now, a lot of shifts, we only have 2 deputies on, covering not only the county, but a lot of municipalities that can't find police officers right now.
Yep.
So we've got work for them. They're not gonna be sitting together there anymore.
And so, one last question then on this.
Yep.
What's the net savings of the change then?
That, I have to do those figuring yet. I didn't get a message to her in time to find out what the true lieutenant piece costs for the wages and salary. And I'd have to work with Krista yet on what the jail sergeant's wages are gonna be before I have those down.
Yeah, I think that would be most beneficial. I mean, it sounds like there's a good savings here and
Oh,
a
yeah.
good plan. So
Yeah.
to bring this to the full board, I mean, to detail that out, it'd be fantastic, so.
Yeah, I will. I would not be required to do that, but I can bring it to them and show them that, yeah. I'll do that in my quarterly report.
Sure, yeah,
So,
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna ask about the part-time.
Yep.
That what kind of hours, and then, so with that, they wouldn't be eligible for benefits, or?
First of all, we have one part-timer.
Okay,
And, or do we? Was Amanda our only one?
She was, and then we're in the process of.
We just hired our only part-timer. Yeah, full-time.
Dylan.
So what happens there is, part-time officers are usually full-time somewhere else. And to be certified, the 200-hour jail certification is 2 straight weeks, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And they just can't do it. We can't get part-timers because they just can't do it. So when I have 3 part-timers there on the bottom, that's just to show that each sergeant may oversee a part-timer that might be on duty that day. I do not have 3 part-time staff. Right now, I'm interviewing for one, or we just started field training.
Yeah.
Background and field training on one part-timer. So we don't have any right now. Yeah.
I'm short 3 too, so just so you guys know.
Yeah.
Anybody needs a job, Toads needs it.
Arcadia Police Department, 4 times they've put out an application. I got 1 applicant
Yeah.
each time.
I don't get them.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's bad.
We seem to have when I talk to other sheriffs who don't get any, when I say we get 3 or 4 or 5 applicants for a male position in a jail, I'm comfortable with that right now. Female, we're lucky to get 1, so, it's,
And we still have to have both a male and a female
yes.
jailer on duty at all times.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
To house
Yeah,
men and women.
yeah.
So what happens when you don't? I mean, what happens if you don't get?
Well, we haven't had that problem yet.
Okay.
But if we did, we would have to send our female inmates to another jail.
Oh,
So we'd have to house them out of county, so. So today we'll put the posting up for the jail captain. I said we have an administrative captain position open. That opened up when Wayne was promoted to chief deputy. That posting will be going up next week. That could likely result in having to backfill a position below that. So we're going to be busy hiring and promoting.
I like what you're doing.
Now, when you post a position and you do not get an interested party from within the organization, then you
Yep.
have to go outside
Yep.
and advertise state and
Yep.
nationally.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that advertising until you learn that someone within the department is not interested?
Or if anybody within is interested but not qualified. Right. Yeah. So in 33 years, one time twice actually, have we hired from outside the ranks, and that's because nobody from within the ranks showed interest in a sergeant position, or, so.
I remember one of them.
So Brian was hired as a sergeant, yep. Harlan was not hired as a supervisor. He was hired from outside as a normal traffic deputy, that's what it was,
Well.
so.
Use the word normal
Yeah.
kind of loosely there.
A normal Marathon County traffic deputy.
Good
So,
deal.
I think that takes care of all my employee hirings. The jail, some numbers up in the jail. At today now, we will have, all I have is today's numbers. We will have 17 in our county today. There will be 7 out of county, 4 on electronic monitoring, and 1 that is in Dodge County for Dodge County Jail. It's a non-contracted. They're there for some other reason, but they're getting credit for time served for a Trempealeau County sentence there, for a total of 29 daily population today. Like I said at the county board meeting here the last time I was there, it got pretty busy with staff moving out into the transition trailer. It got real busy for Tanya to try to do that quarterly report that she has to do manually to go through and figure out our average daily population and stuff like that. So right now I don't have that. We're trying to figure out how to get our records management system to produce that report for us. So basically I can only tell you what's going on today, which is average daily population of today is 29, which is down about 2 or 3 from what it was at that county board meeting. So, but that ebbs and flows quite commonly, quite significantly sometimes. So.
What would the max be, Brett?
Our max,
Typically, I know what our max is in the jail, but
Yeah.
what do you see? Do you go over the max that we can house often?
within our jail, so our average daily population, 2 months ago, our average daily population was right around 32. Well, we can only house 26 here. So, and that's if all the segregation and isolation conditions are perfect, which they never are. We've got 2 inmates in our jail right now. Each of them are taking up a 3-bed block because of mental health issues. So when you deal with that, really, quite honestly, our capability is probably 22 in our own jail. So today we have be 17 because we have some significant issues up there with mental health and segregation needs.
And we're going to 98.
We're going to 78.
Oh, 78.
Yeah, we're going to
Okay.
78, but that, when the building is done,
Yeah.
we'll be able to expand it to 98
Got
without
it.
putting a single brick in there. It'll be just
Gotcha.
welding a bunk in a current existing cell block.
I like it.
And
Yeah.
keep in mind, you might have, for the sake of example, 100 beds in your facility. The state considers you full at 85 because you need that 15% for classification purposes,
Yeah.
according to the state.
And incoming arrivals, new arrivals that,
Yeah.
you don't know when they're coming all the time. I will say, when this project, this is the 4th time around, when this started, the 4th time around, at that point, our average daily population was 52. So we had 20 inmates out of county all the time then. So, but that, like I said, it ebbs and flows and sometimes significantly. Right now, Department of Corrections really is not putting anybody in jail.
That's
which
what I
is-
was just gonna ask
yeah,
that.
Probation holds just don't exist
Yeah,
anymore,
right.
so.
They're kicking them out even though they probably shouldn't be kicked out, right?
Yep. But one thing, that comes and goes with administration at the state level. And now, when you hear of incidents like the Waukesha Parade incident this winter, that was a very significant bond issue. A person was out on bond at a very, very low bail. And so there's bail reform going on. There's talk about bond monitoring, which is going to start increasing jail populations again. So they're just the reasons come and go as to why the numbers are high or low. And so,
So maybe you can answer this, just have a curious question. Say somebody has a $50,000 bond. What do they gotta pay to get out? 5,000, ain't it like 5, they don't have to pay the whole 50,000, or do they?
If the judge orders a 50,000 cash bond, then they have to
They do?
Yeah.
They have to
Okay.
put up 50,000, yeah.
Okay, that's
A
good
lot
to
of
know that.
states have a 10%
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to
Yeah.
hear that. I like that.
And there are no bail bondsmen here in this state either.
No, no. We've had them call, but they gotta call out of state to get to one. So we've had inmates call for them, but you gotta get one out of state.
Oh, that's good to know.
And that's rare. Usually, you know, it's not a lot that you see cash bonds here that they can't post. So, somehow they come up with it.
Yeah, it's some,
You know,
yeah.
especially, you know, if you're into the drug game, you know, it's not hard to come up with $5,000, $10,000 if you need to. Somebody will come up with it for you. Some of them don't, they don't have to worry about it. They got people higher up the food chain that just get them bailed out without them even knowing, so. Nothing else. I anticipate a replacement transport van to be here in June now. I ordered it back in March or late February. A squad car I ordered in December. Was hoping for June, but I have not even got the word that it's gonna be produced yet, so.
Hopefully got all the chips for those, because they probably need some.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I would suspect, I don't know if the chip is a lot different. Usually it's the suspensions that are different in those, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I've got 4, just regular duty Ford Explorers ordered. At that time it was 120 to 150 day lead time, which puts them about August or September. I talked to a dealer 2 days ago about the 2023 police packages, and they're not even spec'd out yet. They can't even tell me nothing about them yet.
Wow.
And I couldn't order any for 2022. So hopefully we are able to get some for 23 at the police package. So,
How long do those typically last? How many years for you?
I would say on average maybe 4 years.
Makes it that long?
We go more by mileage. Once they get up to around 120, 130,000, then we start replacing them. So I've had squads at 5 or 6 years that get up to 120, then I replace them. But others, you know, at 3.5, we're going to have one at 3 years is going to be close to 120 because multiple users. They got shared a lot. So.
Where you get a lemon that
Yeah.
is costing you big
Yeah,
bucks for
absolutely.
Any
maintenance. So you're
consideration
like,
of going more than 120? If the car.
Well, 120 is where I start looking at replacing them.
Yeah.
By the time the new cars get here and everything gets changed over, they're upwards of 140, 150,000 miles. So,
Start nickel and diming you at
yeah.
that point.
Well, that's just it, you know, you start paying for
Yeah.
maintenance on them. So, but, prior to me, cars were all traded. Squad cars were all traded. I started selling them on an online auction site, and a 4 or 5 year old Dodge Charger with a Hemi, 160,000 miles, and I got $9,000 for it. So I'm doing very well with the trades, even at the 150, 160,000 mile range. So
That's good to hear.
yeah, so we're doing all right, except for I can't get them ordered. I can't.
Yeah.
The cars aren't there. So, but
Good deal. Good to know.
that's basically it. We do have to go into closed session to talk about 2 things. Do we?
He's gonna read
Okay, so yeah.
he's gotta do that.
So before we go into closed session, I guess any questions about anything else with the sheriff's office? All right.
All right. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute, section 19.85, parent 1, parent C, to consider employment, compensation, and performance matters for the interim jail administrator and patrol staff. Also to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin stat, section 19.85, parent 1, parent D, to consider strategy for crime prevention and enforcement related to road bans. Do we have a motion? Got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by, do we need to do a roll call vote on going into closed? I think we do.
Yes.
Todd, yes.
Klein, yes.
Orsh, yes.
Schreiner, yes. We are now in closed session.